All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Who do we have? Who do we have? I see Minnesota. Good evening. Good evening, California, Minnesota. Good evening, London, Jacksonville. Good evening, New Jersey. Good evening, Cleveland, Orlando. Good evening, North Carolina. Good evening, Cleveland, Milwaukee. Now, I know it's more than you all on the line than what I'm seeing right now. We want to start this call out with the right mindset. My question is are you going to show up for you? Will you show up for you? Will you show up for what's required? And tonight we're talking about showing up for yourself. You want to make sure you show up. That means mindset. I got a yes, 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 right? Mindset, mindset, mindset. We need to operate in the right mindset, the right thought process, the right principles, right? You definitely want to make sure that that is what you're doing. So, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Let me know where you're calling in from, along with those affirmations, right? That's ultimately what we want to do. We want to make sure that we're operating in the right principles. All right. Now, for those of you all, I see you all still logging in. Good evening, good evening, good evening. And yes, good evening to our YouTube family as well. Right now, let's talk affirmations. Why is our mindset so important? What's going to get you to show up? What is going to get you to show up for yourself? This is a summer surge. I don't even know if you really understand the summer rush. I don't even know if you understand what that means. We're pressing forward. I don't even know if you grasp that just yet. And so you need to show up for yourself. We are no longer living in excuses. We're no longer living in that space. We're going to show up, right? And so this is your market talks. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tasha M. Dyer, the Trade Whisperer. And let's talk affirmations. Let's get our minds right for the night's training. I am an educated BYOB master trader. I am the signal. All my trades end in profit. I am 777. Now, what does 777 mean? If you're in the Telegram chat, Be Your Own Bank, BYOB Cash Out, if you are in that Telegram chat, one of the things that you're going to see, one of the things that you're always going to see is that 777. Take profit. The market is your ATM. You're walking where you're anointed for wealth, right? That is ultimately what you're going to see, right? And that's what you're going to do. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. And let's go ahead and get started. If this is the first time that you are here with us this evening, let me get a 111 in the chat. If you are still learning how to cash out, let me get a 222. All right, welcome, 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 and welcome back. I am actually getting my screen share together. Let me get this screen share together. All right, so welcome, welcome, and welcome back. I'm getting set up here as I get set up. All right, so now this is going to be a part 2, all right? This is a part 2. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk you through the BYOB cash out strategy, right? I definitely want one that we have not marked up. Obviously, all these tabs are still from this morning's call when we were on live this morning, right? So let me see here. All right. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's talk, right? Let's talk. We're going to talk BYOB cash out strategy. Let me tell you what this call is all about today. We're going to talk about the BYOB cash out strategy. We're going to do a part 2 from last week of your top-down analysis, okay, and tool implementation. Now, if you were on the call last week, right, if you were with us last week, what you noticed and what you should have understood is the fact that we had a lot of news. And I told you guys then that we were waiting on news to happen. We were waiting on that to manifest. And so there was no way that we were going to get what we needed. So we kind of walk you all through just really an understanding standpoint, right? That's what we walked you through. And so now this week, what we're going to do as promised is, you notice now we have alerts coming in, right? So we have alerts coming in. Also, we have our tools, right? This is that, you know, we have a tool. We talk about the harmonic scanner a lot. We're not diving into all of the tools just yet, but we have been talking about a top-down analysis approach. We have been talking about making sure you understand the market, right? We have been talking about those things. And so in talking about those things, right, and in understanding those things, then what you see and what you notice is the reality that as we talk and we work through this top-down analysis approach, what I need you all to remember is the market is the higher time frame is what gives us movement in the market. Now, our lower time frame is where the activity takes place and where the activity happens. And so that's really what you're going, that's kind of like that takeaway that I really want you guys to grasp, because if you can grasp that, you'll start being able to effectively implement the tools, right? You will really start to be able to effectively implement the tools. Now, as we look at this, right? As we look at this, I'm gonna talk about the BYOB cash out, and you're gonna see that on the 15-minute chart where we are. Now, this is where you get started. So if you are a 111, you're new to this call, you're new to trading with us, what I really want you to understand is that new to trading with us, new to this call, the 15-minute chart is your foundation, right? This is the foundation. What you will see is other, and you will see other, individuals, our educators actually trading on different time frames, or even when we do our indices, right? Our crypto, or even me, I trade on a different time frame. But you don't want to touch anything else. You don't want to do anything else until you understand some market structure. Which starts with your support and resistance lines, understanding your trend, understanding those things. So this is a gradual process, right? This is really a gradual process, but yet the 15-minute chart is our foundation. So now let's walk through the strategy really quickly. Now, if you guys have questions, comments, or testimonies, you really want to make sure you drop it in the chat. I can guarantee you we're going to walk you through this, right? We're definitely going to walk through this with you, okay? So I want you to understand how these works. Now, also how this works is the way these calls are set up. So I want you guys to understand, because I know a few of you all are new to the call here today, and how our calls are set up is on Tuesday night, you got your basics, right? The strategy, I believe this past Tuesday, I know Ms. Anderson did probably about 30 minutes of going over the strategy, answering your questions, kind of walking you through it. And so that is really where, we have that's that basics, where we're going to spend time going through and over the 15. Every profit call that we do in the morning, we take the tools that we're learning tonight and we implement that in our 5 a.m. call. All right. And then, of course, our 9 o'clock call is tailored for the indices. Okay. So let's go ahead and dive in. Just want to make sure you guys know. So we close out the week strong with advanced tools and advanced training, tools training. So I'm actually going to pull up GBP USDs. Let's stay consistent. Because that's what we've been working on. Now, as I'm looking at this, okay, as I'm seeing this, one of the things that I'm looking at and what I'm looking for is the fact that we have 3 indicators, all right? We have 3 indicators. Now, these indicators are my Hikinashi candles, my PSAR, and my stochastic. Now, my stochastic is my leading indicator, all right? My stochastic is my leading indicator. Now, understanding that my stochastic is my leading indicator, I know when we look at a chart, You open it up, you're like, what is this? What do I do? As a matter of fact, I had someone that knew me before we started trading, when she actually took the time to look at this and where this quote or saying kind of came from. She called it an EKG. She said, you want me to learn what? You want me to do what with this? She said, it looked like an EKG. And that's kind of where I got that from, where I'm like, I know it looked like an EKG, but through time, that is actually somebody who was making more money from doing hair and working in the school. So she was able to replace 2 jobs worth of income after she embraced the EKG-ness of this, right? And so that's what we're here to kind of walk you through this and really kind of break this down. And so where we start, like I said, is this 15-minute chart. You want to draw your attention to here. Yes, do I need to look at the charts? Do I need to understand, kind of flip through, right? Kind of understand what the market is doing. You kind of see me kind of walking through here. Look, you will always see me squinching it in, looking at the big charts, looking at, kind of seeing the big picture. But when we click on the chart, like when we click on any of these, when we do it, it looks like this, and it's down here, right? And so, yes, you see market structure within that market structure. And so that's what I'm here to help you see, how these time frames correlate together, how they work together. How do I use the tools? So let's start strategy. Let's talk strategy. I'm going to do one, and I'm going to do one sale, okay? Now, if you need further, there is a playlist, right? Trading the BYOB cash out strategy on our YouTube, Be Your Own Bank Movement. And there's one video that says the BYOB cash out strategy. The second video is time frame confluence. So you want to go there. You want to pay attention to both of those, right? Now, but I'm gonna walk you through this sale right here. So if you notice that this was a blue line crossover to red. Now I'm looking for that to happen around that 80. Now, when this blue line crossover to red around this 80, right? Blue line crossover to red and a downward momentum around the 80. Now, I'm gonna actually come back over here because I might have some I know we have new individuals on the call. So right here, you notice this one is closer to the 80. This is kind of where this started. I know we have been dropping, but if I kind of look at this, see, everything we're looking at now is historical data, because this is what you would see when you come on here, all right? This is a blue line crossover to red and a downward momentum around the 80. I love live trades. You guys know that. This is a blue line crossover to red right here and a downward momentum. And then I have a red candle with a flat top, but I do not have a PSR. I do not have a PSR. I think tonight I'm gonna walk you through this one. Let's walk through a live. So every call we go back through past data, historical data to show you how they play out. But I actually let's analyze, since we have a blue line crossover to red, because this is how you'd be sitting there waiting on your trades to set up. This is real life right here. This is it. This is real. So now my time frame confluence would be on my hour. I come to my hour. Can anybody tell me if I have confluence right here? Can anybody tell me, do I have confluence, right? Can anybody tell me if I have confluence? Absolutely correct. We do not have confluence. Now, let me tell you why. Because my stochastic is straight up in the air. That's first. Now, look at my candle fluctuating between green and red and green and red. Now, this is what it would look like. So this is how you come in and you begin your analyzation. All right. This is how you come in and you start. Like, okay, so what do I do now? So is it even worth waiting for? Let's talk about that. So you notice that this has been dropping. It's been dropping. This is on a rise right now. So let's go ahead and jump up here to my higher time frame. And you can see where I'm kind of sitting on the support and resistance line. Now, for those of you all who are new, that's a little advanced. This is an advanced night. But for those of you all who are new, right, let's stay here. This is what you're looking for. Now, by the time this flips, it might be ready to push through there, right? It might be coming back down. This looks like it's possibly just a correction. When I come back up here and I really look at, but we are definitely in that oversold territory that's down here. All right. I just kind of want you guys to see that. We're definitely in that. So it's not a trade you're going to catch right now, not even close. It's not one you're about to catch on this call. All right. I'm just kind of want to walk you through what you look at when you see that live setup, because this is ultimately, so it's like, do I wait or do I not wait? I'm not waiting. Now, granted, this might pull up and come back down. So what you do now is kind of wait till, like, let's see, the 10 o'clock hour, and I had my stochastic had some curve in it, then we would definitely go back and take that. Any questions, comments, or testimonies? I kind of wanted to look at some live information, right? We so often have to come back through here and look at information that's not live, right? And it'll make sense in just a minute. It'll make sense. It will make sense, you know, if you're kind of, I'm gonna see, I just want to see it. I'm gonna click a few of these and see if we have anything live. Maybe we'll have, because if we have another opportunity. All right. So this trigger for a sell on my 4 hour, which always triggers in a correction. So blue line cross over the red in a downward momentum. Here's a red candle with a flat top. PSR flipped at the top of this call. All right, the PSR flipped at the top of this call. So what I would do is I would jump to my hour. Can somebody tell me, do I have confluence? Are we almost at confluence? Anybody else? All right. So you see how this is beginning that curve down? Now, right now, I'm gonna tell you, might have a little hesitation. Let's see where we are. Let's drop down. Let's not forget our 5. I got a no right there. I like the different answers. So let's walk through this, and I'm gonna tell you. So, and that's why I said, do I have it or do I almost have it? So right here, right, my 5 minute is still selling. I don't like how this is doing this right here. You see the pullback that's happening right there. We definitely had, let me put an arrow here just because we've already gone a candle. All right, let's put an arrow here just because we've already done a candle. Come here to my 1 hour. Now, what you're seeing is that stochastic is kind of going sideways. It was up, kind of going sideways. This is a new hour candle. What I would tell you I don't like is this. All right, I don't like how this is sitting here, but you can definitely see, I can actually kind of like this better. We might do this more often because you some real live data, right? So you can definitely see how this is coming down because I got different answers from everybody. Now, I personally will probably wait on that trade. I definitely will probably wait. And because I'm oversold, right? This is definitely not quite there yet. It's starting to get that curve. But, and if you would have gotten in that trade, so if you would have gotten in, they'd be like at what, 1, oh, actually 3. I was gonna give you 1 pip. Okay, so that's where you would be. Now ranging is rejecting. It's rejecting. So let's look, right? Let's look. Indications. You notice how my candles were coming down? It rejected right here. It rejected right here. So it's starting to reject. So that means there's something significant in this area. There's something significant in this area right here because it's rejecting right there. So I know you were probably thinking consolidating because I think a lot of people mix up consolidation and ranges, but it's neither one of them really. This is rejecting. That's what you see. But look, so it pushed down, it pulled up off of it, and it looks like it's trying to push back down, right? That's what it looked like it's trying to do. And so this is where we are right now. So I love the analysis. I love the analogy. So, you know, because you get the basics, the historical, we also do that in the mornings as we start looking. I think this is what we'll keep doing because I like the fact that you guys could analyze it with me, and that way we can see what you're learning. Now, let's go ahead and talk, because what I want to talk about, all right, where's my screen? I'm going to use GBP AUD tonight, all right? So GBP AUD had 2 triggers. Where they go? Now, I'm going to reach out to, because I want to check on these triggers. But in the meantime, in between time, right? In the meantime, in between time, we overcome And so what I want to show you, right? And you can actually come to the Vibrata here because this is the same tool. It's the exact same thing. And you can come to the Vibrata here and you can see the alerts that's coming through here. And, you know, just if you feel like now that some of them are not, but these have been a while. So actually it's probably the same. And so, yeah, these have actually been a while. All right. So, it looks like it's pretty much the same, but I noticed that when we were talking about the feed earlier, and I felt like it was my personal browser, my cookies or something. But just in case, this is always a workaround, because you guys saw previously on my, before I changed computers, how I didn't even have a feed. And that's why that's something that you personally might deal with. You could come here and pull the triggers as well, just so you kind of know. Because I wrote it down, but I don't even see the two that I pulled right before the call. That's what made me go over there. So we always overcome whatever, right? We're gonna always do that. So let's talk about it for a moment. Now, I come in here as well, right? Go to my harmonics. This is where one of the tools, you see you have multiple tools, right? Many tools that's in here, right? Many tools that's in here. So the tool that we're gonna talk about right now is the harmonics and these triggers. I'm gonna show you how they kind of correlate together. So go to the harmonic scanner. On the harmonic scanner, I have GBP AUD, all right? And you can see that this is actually triggered for a sale, okay? Now, as I go through this, guys, let me know questions, comments, testimonies. And what are you saying is good? Am I reading that wrong? Or, you know, which one was that? I think we're over here. This it should be. What are you talking about? This one? This one's still trying to curve down. So we'll come back to it. So now as you kind of look right here, okay, these are those two. One of the things you never see me write down, but for the sake of training today, I'm gonna use these entries as well. All right, I have those. So these are those two entry points. So what happened is because I can't pull it back up right now, I'm gonna just write it on here for you so you guys can see it. I'm not gonna, and that way you guys can reference it, because I want you to see how these, why am I always using both of them? So on the 15-minute chart, it triggered for a buy at 1.84513. All right. So that was that trigger. Now I'm gonna put another one on here. So if you guys want to kind of mark up your charts as well, if you want, or you just want to stay with me, on a 5-minute, it triggered for a sale at 1.84494. You're like, wait, what? It triggered for a buy and a sell. Look, GBP USD just triggered for a sell. And we'll come back to that. So it triggered for a buy and a sell. All right. And actually, let me edit this, because that happened at UTC time 45, so 0045, obviously, which would have been, well, oh, shoot, I'm on the wrong time frame. I'm like, where did my time go? I don't need time on a daily. You don't need no time on a daily. So it all that trigger right up in this area. But I do need to come pull this down now, because now it's way up somewhere. You notice how far away things get when you change time frames? Oh, goodness. I might type it again. I feel like I'm going to type it again. See how far apart it is now when you change time frames? That's why you have to pull in and pull out. And that's why when you see us scrolling, because you have to move these charts in and move these charts out. You have to move them in and you have to move them out. All right, so let me drop down again and watch it move. See, it's way over there now. So, because you're putting it in this current area, and then the candle spread out. So obviously the information I'm typing it's gonna spread out. All right. So now let me get back down to my 15. See how far over it keeps going and I keep moving it? That should give you some, and I'm doing it intentionally because that should give you some understanding to the candles and to the chart and why you always see that movement taking place, right? So I'm real intentional about that. Okay, what I'm doing, it's probably get on your nerves, but that's intentional. All right. So now let's put the other one on here. Okay, let's put the other one on here. So as I look, right? Are you guys with me? 555 so far? I'm gonna put my harmonic scanner information on here. All right, good. All right, so we got a TP1, okay, for a sale. I guess I should put that first. Maybe I should put my fingers in the right place. So I got a TP1 for a sale, okay, 1.83575. All right, oops. I meant to hit enter and not. So I have a TP2, 1.82944. So this is kind of that harmonic scanner training too, right, that we're doing. So this should help bring some clarity. Like when you see the ones dropping, oh, my harmonic scanner training, you know, my harmonic scanner homework, because they're coming in and they're verifying like these support and resistance lines, okay? So now this is for a sale. So let's mark this up. Let's mark this up. Let's do some analyzation. And of course, I don't care about no time on this one. All right. So let's get this. Let me get my horizontal line and we're gonna put these numbers in, okay? 1.83, 1.83575. Put that number in there. See, that obviously would be that what they're considering a take profit 1, and we haven't analyzed it yet. So it's not our take profit 1. It's not our take profit 2 or our take profit 3 because we haven't analyzed it yet, right? So it'll be ours once we analyze it. Okay, come in here, put my take profit 2. All right, and now let's put the take profit 3. All right. So that's the take profit 3. So I'm gonna jump up to my hour because that's where the harmonic scanner trade is. So no, did you just join us? These two are vibrata triggers. This one is from the harmonic scanner, right? There we go. Bring a little bit. And harmonic 1 hour. There you go. Hopefully that bring a little clarity. So you guys can see it. All right, or maybe that didn't help. I was trying to get it off the lines. All right, so now as I look at this, right, what you're seeing is down here, okay? So I actually, like I tell you guys all the time, I'm moving this up. This is a perfect example. Like if I was buying, I would leave it here. We just talked about this part last week. And if it's selling, I'm gonna move it up because, right, the zones, we talked about how the numbers may be varying just a little bit from your broker to the next broker, right? We kind of talked about those things, right? So that's definitely something that, you know, we discussed. So now, all right. Now let's go over here and put these in. So what we know, right? Can I take a sale right now? Absolutely not. So my 4 hour, everything is still buying. Now let's look at what we are in the market, okay? Before we even come analyze these, because they're on the lower time frames, let's come over here and see where we are in the market, top-down analysis. So here I am, right? I'm here in October. Is the last time I touched this zone in this area. So I touched the one below it, the first entry point, because you know some harmonic scanner patterns give you 2 entry points. So one of them is here, where it touched it last August. Now remember, anything over 6 months is significant, right? And so we broke this line in June of last year. June, right? That was June. So we're now talking about a year. So anything over 6 months is significant. It came above that in 2019. So this has been a major support and resistance line. You notice before that, it held it, right? Same areas it was being held. So a very significant support and resistance line. So that makes that sell look even more promising, right? That makes that sell look very, very, very promising. So that's what that makes this look like. So now we know we had some triggers that happened on the Vibrata. Okay, when I drop down to my lower time frames, I want to move these back over here so you guys could stay seeing them as we, you see what it does when you move? And this is what your candles do. So you got to get in the habit of learning how to work that mouse. I'm going to tell you now, you got to learn how to work that mouse because you're going to have to move these charts around. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. You know, we don't do it because our fingers need exercise, right? You have to learn how to move these charts around. So the buy was triggered on the 15th. So let's drop that on there, right? And I'm going to change the color because I want you to understand this was like the Vibrata. So I will drop pivots after the analysis. We can confirm it with pivots. We can definitely confirm it with pivots. So now let's put the number in. Okay. So it triggered for a buy on the 15th. Oh, wait, did I already do that? It's answering a question. All right, so it triggered right there for a buy. Then it triggered for a sale. I'm gonna actually make that color red. You never see me use those. So now you see that one, and I'll make this one green just because it triggered for a buy for the sake of education purposes. Now, the first one at 0045, because I want you guys to see. All right, so where are we at? Right there, trigger right there. And that was the 15-minute. So that was a buy. So I'll make this one green as well. So we understand that's the one that triggered for the buy, the green to green. And then the one that triggered for a sale on the 5-minute, right? That was at 40. So right before it. So which means I'm gonna have to drop down to the 5-minute. So you can see. So it triggered like right there. And that one triggered for a sale, right? So now let's talk about that. Let's talk about that for a minute. So now you can see how the tools work together. So big picture, all right, big picture. My harmonic scanner gives me reversal patterns. That's what, go look up what a harmonic pattern is. It's a reversal pattern, right? It's identifying reversal patterns. That's what that does. So you can see where from a the grand scheme of things is that I'm looking here, right? I'm looking through here and I can see that this has been rising. I'm also at a very significant level in the market. It's been a year since it broke through this, okay? So this sale looks great, right? When you think it would be a reversal that happens right here, doesn't all that logically make sense? And what I didn't do is see if there was one on a lower time frame. To kind of show you, because I get this all the time. You don't pull from the lower time frame. To kind of show you, I can show you without us having one though. I could tell you, because I don't see one. I can definitely tell you. All right, let's go back over there. So what happens is because they're reversal patterns, okay? The reason why I don't pull from the lower time frame, okay, is you notice that this had been buying up this way, right? Let's do this. So this had been buying. We had been moving upwards, right? We had been going up. We had been buying, okay? Now, what is this? I want to paint this clear picture. I'm down on a lower time frame on the 30. What is this compared to this uptrend that I'm in right now? What is that? That I put the box around. Drop it in the chat, anybody. What is that? Anybody. No, it's not consolidation. It's right. It's a correction. It's not necessarily a zone. I can see how you got zone, but it's definitely a sale. But it's a correction, right? It's so, you know, and you guys are looking at it, right? Because what it did not do is you see, you guys normally think, right? When we think correction, this is what we think. We think correction, we think like the market does this. Up, back, up, back, nice and pretty, right? That's what US 30, right, had done for us, right? However, sometimes, like right here, it will pull down to that previous point. And that's what this did. It pulled back down, but as long as it doesn't break it, I don't have a trend correction. Like I'm still in my trend. It can come here. This is typical. Right here is typical, right? That's what you're looking for. That's what we teach. That's what the academy says. I come down here. I didn't break that. I didn't break this last significant level. Then when I come down here is when I would do that, right? So you want to pay attention to that, all right? So that's what you guys be looking for. So what happens is the 15-minute, this will be like a 15-minute harmonic pattern right here. This will be a pattern on my lower time frame. So this could also be a pattern on my lower time frame, right? That pulls down to right here. You will see a take profit 3 down here. Well, we never made it down there. And so you always want to know, the reason why I don't pull is a lot of times people don't know to come down here and see, or to come down here and check. Like they don't know to say, okay, let me see what the market's doing. Because you might have been trying to get down here, or it's like this one came all the way down, which would have been good. But then you have the ones that don't. And then you're like, well, it doesn't work. It didn't play out. Well, that's because you don't understand what the market's doing. You haven't had built that relationship with the market. You're not looking to see what the market, right? So this would also trigger a harmonic pattern on that lower time frame. This would trigger that as well. But this one didn't come down there. And that's why we need to know. So that's why you always see me pull them like from my higher time frames. And now you can see it was just a correction. You can see it's just a correction when I'm on my higher time frames. You get that, you get to know, because a reversal pattern, if it's a reversal pattern, in my corrections, there are reversal patterns on my lower time frames. There is market structure inside of market structure, right? So you see patterns, right? You see patterns down here as well. There is market structure inside market structure. Look at this. There's, right? I'm in an upward trend on my higher time frame, but I'm down here on my 5-minute. How in the world do I have a channel on my 5-minute? Now, what does that tell me? Nothing. What is this gonna do for me? Nothing. It's on my 5-minute. Unless I'm like in my indices, unless I'm like on my HFX, unless I'm like, right, what does this do for me when I'm looking at an hour reversal pattern? And what happens is many of you all are trying to take this and voila, you know, and you end up mad because you're like, why am I in a buy? What happened? Why didn't it sell? What's going on? This doesn't hold weight to my higher time frames. Remember, it's like those little infants, those little kids, you know, they sometimes they deviate, but you got to get them back on track. My lower time frame is like that infant and that toddler. That's who they are. My higher time frame is my head of my household. So the higher time frame is what's going to give me direction. All right. So that sale makes sense. Now, how do my vibrata triggers happen in here? Well, my vibrata is going to trigger here, it's going to trigger here, it's going to trigger here. It's going to trigger at each one of these. And because your activity happens on my lower time frame, look at how much activity, right? Look at how much activity was in there. Do you see the same activity in this channel on my hour that we saw in the 5-minute? Do you even come close to seeing my activity? Yes, no, maybe so. No, you don't. Not at all. So This is why we get so many 5-minute triggers, because that's where all the activity is happening. So but that doesn't mean I take my trade at that point. I still come back, and so it analyzes the market. So what does that tell me? So we triggered for a sell right here. We trigger for a buy right here, right in the same vicinity of each other. So when you start seeing that happening, you're a strong indication you're at a heavy rejection area, right? Because why am I triggering buy, sell, buy, sell, buy? I'm not saying that's the definite, the definitive, the guarantee, but that's what you see happening right here. Because, and somebody asked me this morning, do they always play out? Well, it's not a signal. Nobody has come through and analyzed this, right? The Vibrata didn't come analyzing and say, hey, that's a good trade. You have to do that. So when this trigger for a sale, right, this one trigger for a sale on the 5-minute is triggering. I look at my 30, right? I might not. Most of the time when we look at this, okay, most of the time we look at this, I'm like, yeah, it's a red candle, valid trigger, right? Valid trigger. Well, you do see my stochastic crossing over and crossing down. And based on what we know, we're at a heavy rejection area. So it's still a valid trigger. It's not always going to show you a red candle. This is where your knowledge base and you learning the market is going to come into place. So that's what this is right here. Okay. That's what this is. Okay. And so when the 15-minute trigger for a buy, right? Remember, look, it's way up here. When my 15-minute trigger for a buy, I come check my hour. That's a valid trigger. They're both valid triggers. They're both valid triggers. But what you're seeing is my Vibrata is now triggering around the quote unquote entry point for my harmonic scanner trade. Does this make sense? Questions, comments, testimonies. And I can slow down and go back and answer some questions, right? I can slow down and kind of go back. Makes sense. Awesome. Can you guys go do it now? Can you go do it? Can you go do it? So, so awesome. All right. So let me see here. So confluence. The question is, this is why that harmonic homework is important. Absolutely. So yes, I feel like if you've been doing your harmonic scanner homework, I feel like you'll be able to go back and do this. I really do. This is exactly why that homework is important. You have to spend some time on what you want to, what craft you want to develop. So I love it. All right. So time frame confluence. Confluence is like an alignment in your car, right? Time frame confluence. 5-minute is going to be your, actually, I'm gonna let y'all do the math, because we go over it all the time. I need to know y'all paying attention. So it's a factor of 4, 5, or 6, right? Who knows what a factor means? A little bit of math. Who knows what factor means? We're gonna do what? Exactly. So what's, let's do some math. What is 5? Yeah, 5 times 4. Do y'all need a calculator? Right. So we got 20. So I can X that off because I don't have a 20-minute chart. What about 5 times 5? So we can X it out. And so you count on your fingers. You say, wait, slow down. All right. So what about 5 times 6? Exactly. So it's a factor of 4, 5, or 6. So my confluence is on my 30-minute chart. And then I drop down, obviously, right? So you're going to drop down. So when I drop down, I'm going to my 1 minute. Now, when I'm on time frame for confluence, on my 15-minute, you do the same thing. Who wants to do the math for me? 15 times 4? 15 times 5? There we go. And what is 60? Exactly. So it's on my hour. Remember, I don't need Google Maps to know where I need to get to the grocery store. I don't need Google Maps. I don't need Google Maps to get me to the grocery store in my neighborhood, right? So this helps you zone in on where you need to be, right? This really helps you zone in. And when I drop down, it's a 5 minute. So that's what that does. It helps you zone in, right? So that's how that helps you, right? That's how that helps you. But yet, because it was somebody this morning asked me about wait, you went to the 4 hour, hopefully you're on the call so you can see the clarity and understand. So this is where I confirm my trade, but I still need to know, right? Even though I might be at the top of Jacksonville, right? I might be at the top of Jacksonville, but I'm trying to get to the store in my area of town. This gets me to the grocery store in my area of town. But me checking the higher time frame helps me know that I'm at the top part of Jacksonville and not the south part of Jacksonville, right? Not right. So that kind of helps you. And notice I didn't say the north. You have to be from Jacksonville to kind of understand the size of towns, like, because it don't make sense at all, you know. And because when I moved here, I told people, I was like, yeah, I live in the north. They're like, no, you don't. No, you don't. I'm like, it's the top. How is it not the north? Right. So I'm not from here, so I still don't understand it. But you have to be from here. People from here get it. So I'm just saying. So, but does that make sense? Questions, comments, testimonies? I wanna. And I will go, we'll look at some. So what we've done. And so if I kind of look at this, okay, look at all my little notes on top of each other. But if I kind of look at this, right, we done lost the harmonic scanner trade information. Well, thank you. I'm glad it was very clear for you. So if I'm looking at this, right, let me clone it, right? We talked channels last week, right? Let's clone it. So now, what do you see? The market is doing what? It's respecting that area. And so you can see how it's moving in a nice uptrend in that nice channel. That's how it's moving. This is like this is kind of like a sneak peek into the tools training that we're going to be doing, right? This is what that is. All right. And so just to kind of show you, let me go back to, I'm gonna come back over here because this was our markup for this morning. So this was live when we were looking at this morning on the call. So you notice that if you look back, right, this US 30, I'm telling you that once you grasp this, it's gonna help you with everything. So once you grab this, right, and you understand, like this was one of the markups, this was the other. Did it break it? Yeah, it did. It didn't stay doing what it was supposed to, but it still held in the zone, right? It tried it, but it did. So let's look. Let's come up on my higher time frame. Let me help you understand what I'm saying. So notice that I'm gonna thicken this line up. All right. Notice that this is where we were, right? Do we have any updated triggers on here? I don't see any updated ones. I looked earlier, right? So we were on there because some of you guys caught that buy. And then I don't know if you remember me telling you about sentiment, like, or the different types of analysis, how we just had that impactful news, how they got to figure out how they feel about it, right? So you have your technical analysis, which is where we go over the strategy, right? That's where we go over the strategy. This was our technical analysis, right? Understanding this line, what we were looking at, this channel that it had been in, all of that's my technical analysis. My fundamental analysis is that FOMC that happened yesterday that obviously has given the market quite a bit of liquidity, and that's why we're making so much money. Then the sentiment is, how do they feel about it? Well, we were talking about it this morning where Wall Street had to open, right? Wall Street had to open. And when Wall Street opened, then we might get an initial reaction, but we have to see how they feel about it. And so they were unsure how they felt about it, because you can see it went this way, then it went this way. So it was a little mixed. It was the technical kicked in, then a little fundamental, the little sentiment kicked in, and now look where we are, right? It really held at this line, but this is a good example of dipping for pips. Obviously it's points, but this is a good example of dipping for pips. So it's still kind of held, right, in this area. And so it'll ultimately come back and complete. But remember how I was telling you, you never know how hard a correction is. You never know. And obviously this one was harder because of the simple fact that there was some sentiment in it. So this is why when I tell you guys that when I'm over here trading, right? I'm gonna move this over. We don't need it. We won't have no more calls till Monday. It'll be a fresh screen. When I'm over here and GBPs, or not really GBPs, you can pick your currency, but I'm strictly thinking like 4X. When you're over here, you can do your 10 pips and cash out easy, right? You can build your consistency. You can start studying and learning, right? And diving in and diving deep into the academy, right? You can start doing that, right? But then when I come here, this has a lot more impact. 30 pips, like let's say had this been 30 pips or something on a Forex, you would be like, oh, okay, 30 pips. But this was literally from here to here was 200, over 200 points. That is $200 at a minimum. So that's why when I tell you, I will never tell you what to trade and what not to trade, but I will tell you what you need to know in order to trade it. I have some people who just love the indices and that's all they want to touch. Then you have some people who don't touch indices and only touch Forex. Then we have some people that only trade crypto, so it's all your personal preference. We have some people that want to ride it out, and then some people that just want to be in and out. It's all a personal preference, but you still, even if I'm a scalper, right? I still need to know this. I still need to know this because a scalper would have got caught in this. An educated scalper will not. Make sense? A scalper will get caught in this, but an educated scalper will not. All right? So it say now you understand the factor of 4, 5, and 6 for the first time. You are so welcome. You are so welcome. Questions, comments, testimonies. That's a strong testimony. Questions, comments, testimonies. You got to see why I pull on a harmonic. Honestly, why I pull on a harmonic scanner and correlate it with the vibrato so much. I promise you. And I put money on it. I don't bet, but I put money on it. So, but because I really believe that if you start here, many, many tools, but if you start here, right, just like the 15 is the foundation, if you start here and kind of study this and focus on it and kind of correlate and pull these two together, it's really going to help make this market clearer to you. It's really going to help start bringing some clarity to you. You start looking at these and using a harmonic scanner to, really kind of paint that picture for you. It's going to really, really, really start. Because when we get into the tools, you'll see that there's a lot that's out there. And there's a lot that, I don't have no good or bad, like it's nothing, the tools are the tools. But how effective are they if you don't know how to use them? That's what, so that's really what this is all about. How effective is anything if you don't know how to use it? And so you want to get past the point where I'm just jumping in and jumping out, and I don't know why. Jump in and jump out. Like I'm over here trading on a 1 minute. Why? Why are we trading on a 1 minute? Why? I'm not talking about HFX. Obviously, I know why. Why you're trading. You can answer that question. But I'm saying, like, why would you come here on a 1 minute? Look, it's market structure right here, right? That's a trend line, right? I can find market structure on a 1 minute. Does it mean anything? Is it going to hold? When I come up here to my 30-minute, what do I see here? There is market structure inside of market structure, right? There is market structure inside of market structure. The kids are people too, right? Think about it like that. So we don't use confusion. It don't put another spin on things, right? You got your head of household, my 4 hour. You got the spouse that need to be submissive, right? My 1 hour. My 15-minute is my teenager, and my 5-minute is my little kids. There's market structure inside of market structure. They're little people too, right? They just don't have no say-so, but they are still little people. So they're gonna have some structure. They're gonna have the same things that we got arms, they got arms. We got a mouth, they got a mouth. We got a mind, they have a mind, right? So there is market structure inside of market structure. So they are little people that have personalities, right? So hopefully, but would you walk in my house and listen to my granddaughter? She's 3. If you came to my house and asked me for something, would you come ask me or would you ask her? Right? Well, who we gonna have a conversation with? Is my granddaughter gonna be the one to tell us how to do anything? Right? She thinks she can because but is she really the one? So that's how you got to think about it. You say, so you get the big picture for the first time in market structure and understand the market structure. Wait, let me read that again. So you get the big picture first and then understand the market structure for time frame. You can do it either way. You have to get comfortable with it. The best, how do you learn how to swim? Jump in, get in the water. I could take all the analysis and I could teach you, I could tell you what a backstroke is. I could tell you how to do a butterfly. That don't mean I can do it, right? I can tell you, hold your breath, cup your hands, but guess what? I know all of that because I took a class, but I don't know how to swim. I can doggy paddle, right? So I'm saying that because you can walk through the strategy, but how you gonna learn how to trade? Get in the water. Jump in, dive in. So dive in. You're welcome. Because we always are looking for that. We're looking for do X, then do A, then B, then C, do X, then Y, then Z. We're looking for that. We're people. That's that. We're so used to being structured and told what to do, a step-by-step process. But I could tell, what do they tell you when you learn how to drive? Put your hands on 10 and 2. How many of you guys still do that? Let's be honest, let's be real. How many of y'all drive with your knee? Let's just be real. So that's what it is. So, all right. You got it. Exactly. You said what's 10 and 2? I got you. All right. So no other questions, comments, testimonies. All right, look at this. Y'all see this moving up? Great way to close out this week. You're very welcome. So we already knew it was a trigger. We already analyzed it. We already know it was valid. I'm surprised I don't have a 777 from my scalpers yet. All right. I'm very, very surprised. So, all right. So let me see here. No other questions, comments, or testimonies. Questions, comments, or testimonies. You are very, very, very welcome. You are very, very welcome. You guys are very, very welcome. So what are we? An educated trader is a profitable trader. An educated trader is a profitable trader. You are anointed for wealth. And so you want, there it is. I had to stop. I knew I was waiting on the 777. All right. An educated trader is a profitable trader and you are anointed for wealth. So let me go ahead and